things that it's not meant to say. And then I'm just like, well, it's out there now, so I'll just make it into a joke.
I think we all done that many times. I've had to delete tweets and redo it, and I've even got messages privately from other people saying, "Man, it says."
My cat's attacking me. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, good hurt. But I know I got a message the other day. It's like just so you know, it says Friday Night Rocks, not Friday. It's like so good. Thank you for mentioning that. So go back up and change it to the S out, right?
It just happens, right? It's just one of those things. It's just part of being normal. I think being on social media, there are so many people that just attempt to be perfect. No one's perfect. Just be yourself. I mean, you know what I mean?
And that's the thing. That thing is, Mike and I have fun with that stuff. I mean, there's a filter, but no filter. If that makes any sense. Meaning, you know what? We're not on there. We're on there to promote, but to have fun as well. So, but it's not something that we're looking to try and offend or that sort of thing. It's just all in good fun. And if we make a mistake, then easily deleted. Right? It happens.
Well, yeah.
But no, I'm just thinking about all the different songs because we're gonna get to another one of your tracks very soon called "Look Inside." Now, just generally speaking. How have you feel you've progressed as a musician? Because I mean, Mike and I, as well as your listeners and followers, have followed along with you and kind of not document your progression, but kind of knows the differences. Now, how do you feel you have kind of progressed, contrary to what people have said about you?
Yeah, I think certainly it feels more cohesive now. Like it feels like we've got a way of working that works, and that we kind of have found more of a sound. I mean, bearing in mind that this music that I've been putting out we've been doing it for less than 2 years.
Right.
You know, we released a really quick EP at the end of 2016. Then we released Look Inside and Too Much at the beginning of 2017. Then there was the acoustic EP that I did in the summer last year, and then there was the album at the end of the year. So it's all been kind of quite experimental to see. It's been sort of progressing and learning, and I've certainly been growing as a songwriter as well and learning more about what to do vocally to better fit with the music that's working as well. But also, you know, how to push myself too into different areas and different things. But then also looking at the tracks that do well and the things that do well and learning from that as to what people might want to hear more of.
Right. No, fair enough. Now, stemming from that, like we said at the very beginning, you're very heavily involved in the music scene in general. So we also know that two good friends of the show, Juxta JJ and John Magnuson, got a chance to meet up with you and do a Music Hour UK not too long ago. So we were at least I know Mike was interested as well, so was I. But just you know, just before we continue on this question or a kind of statement, I should say. That next September, Kim and I will be coming up for about a week, 10 days.
Yeah, that's awesome!
So we're planning the trip right now, but just to meet up with everybody. So we're gonna try to see if John Magnuson can make it down because obviously he just has a brand new baby daughter.
Yeah, so, bless. She's so cute.
She won't be brand new by then, though, mate. No excuses.
Well, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. At this point,
no, I know. Yeah, no.
We should get everyone. We should get Chris Leon over as well from Amsterdam. Just get everyone come over. Let's have a party. Let's have a festival.
Let's do it.
So either way, that being said, I mean, it's just been interesting to follow your progression, and it's always for myself personally. I always like following musicians, kind of learning and kind of seeing where they kind of stem from one point to the other, not just musically, but just like not physically, but just. As far as the social media goes, how they change their promotions up and sort of thing. And it was always very interesting to me because, I mean, it does take a lot of work, as you know, and you do so much and you're so involved. So let's go with Music Hour UK. I mean, I know that helps out a lot too. So how do you have time to do that and be your musician self in the band?
Well, it's less busy than it was because I used to be doing the video blogs for them every week, and that just took up so much time. And it got to the end of the series, and I just said to them, I said, look, I can't do this anymore. It's just too much. I can't do this and concentrate on my own stuff. So I have to admit, I have taken a bit of a step back from the whole Music Hour stuff, just purely because, you know, I'm not necessarily always online at the right times, and I can't put aside an hour a day in the evening or 2 hours on some evenings to kind of be involved. However, I've met a lot of the people that are involved in it, and so I do like to make sure that I stay involved with what they're doing and try and support as many other artists as I can through whatever. I've got to the point, I think, now in my career where I feel a bit more confident about stuff, and I feel like if I'm sort of sharing things, I want to be able to say something about it. I don't want to just sort of hit the like or hit the retweet. Obviously, if you're running for time, then it's a good way of sharing stuff. But it's nice to be able to actually say something about them and say, oh, this guy's a mate, have a listen to his music. That's a really powerful thing, I think. And certainly, I think that some of the guys that are my followers have ended up listening to a lot of the guys from the Music Out UK kind of scene just purely because I've sort of shared them. I said, oh, I think you guys would like these guys, etc. Let's everybody make friends.
Right.
But can I ask you about that? Because I'm a big believer in what would you call it? I suppose paying it forward. I'm a big believer in. My opinion has always been, and I say always, perhaps when I was in my late teens, early 20s, it wasn't, because perhaps I was a little bit more arrogant and thought I was going to take over the world. But for the majority of my time as a musician, my opinion has always been, you want to get on with and promote and enjoy the company of and just generally hang out with other people that are doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
No one has one CD in their collection, so I don't know why. It's not so much anymore, but years ago when I was touring and stuff, bands were really funny because they were like, oh, you're stealing my fans. It's like, well, they might be our fans too. Do you know what I mean? They don't have one CD in their collection. But kind of that. There's the kind of I'm a superstar. There's the people that have dinner rather than watch the support band.
You get a massive amount of wankers. You always
massive. That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
You do. You get a massive amount of egotistical wankers who do think that they are the be all and end all and will not fraternise with the other bands and will not. And that's fine. If that's what they want to do, then that's absolutely fine. But that's not my personality, that's not your personality. I'm the kind of person that wants to be able to get on with people and wants to be able to kind of, be supportive and friendly and happy because that's the kind of person that I am. Hopefully I'm not a wanker. So,
Well, I mean, the thing that always gets me is that surely the only reason you start a band is because you like great music and you want to, and you think, oh, I mean, from my point of view, it was I'm crap at sports, but I like girls, so I need to start.
So I picked up a guitar.
Literally the only reason I'm doing anything in music, and I'm now dedicated over half my life to
brilliant
something in the independent music scene at some point. But it is that I don't get the mentality. But you're the opposite. You're very supportive. You're very collaborative. So I guess if I was going to phrase that as a question, it would be what drives you to do that, and is it just passion? What is it that makes you think I want to do this? What is it you love?
Because I think everyone's in the same boat. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, it's just nicer if you're in the boat with people that understand what's going on. Like, life's really short, right? And I'm not here to, I lost one of my closest friends earlier in this year. It could just get taken away from you, like in the blink of an eye. And it's just too short to make enemies. Isn't it better just to kind of be supportive and be kind and share stuff that you feel is good? Like I mean, obviously I write rock music, but I love all different types of music. And so if I listen to something and I think it's really amazing, like if I go and I meet some random people at a festival and I listen to stuff and think, oh my God, this is awesome, I will share it. And I want other people to hear it because they're all in the same boat that I am. They're all, out there struggling as independent artists. And if I'm doing that, then I'm hoping, oh, maybe they're going to do that for me as well. And, it's not they're going to steal my fans. It's like you said, people listen to lots of different types of music. People have loads of bands that they love. It's big enough for everybody.
I completely agree.
Yep.
What is it? Again, I'm trying to phrase this as a question rather than a rant.
Rant away, dear, rant away. We're all friends.
But because I think it's great. I think what you're doing is genuinely great, and I appreciate it because you promote my band. I never mentioned my band on this show.
What are your band called, Mike?
They're called 1 and 5. They're very good. They're releasing an album later.
We should definitely check that out.
All the bloody time. But no. I mean, I think the thing that intrigues me about it is that kind of genuine passion, because it's not false. Do you know what I mean? So, like, for example, what's your opinion on? I heard a whole thing recently. There was an hour and a half long program about the Isle of Wight Festival on radio station was sponsoring the Isle of Wight Festival, and the Isle of Wight Festival, by all accounts, was pretty good this year. At no point did they mention the fact that there's a stage full of independent or unsigned, or whatever you want to call them, artists.
No. Well, it won't, because the thing is that, and actually, unfortunately, there is a problem with female artists being put onto bills as well, because a lot of the time, people put on festivals what they think will sell, and so they're going to talk about in the media what they think will sell. So if, I don't know, one of the bands who's doing the rounds at the moment is the biggest band, like is it DUA or Dua Lipa? I can never remember. But she's obviously doing really well for herself. But she's on all of the festival circuit and everything. But she's going to be one of a real minority of women, and obviously she's the fashionable thing at the moment. So she'll be the one that they mention, because that's who they want to mention. They're not going to go onto the press and go, "Oh, we've got all these indie bands," and like reel off a list of indie bands, because to be honest with you, we don't sell tickets. Like, we might bring a few fans, but the fact is, when you're in the indie music scene, it's very easy to get pissed off about that. And I've certainly got really pissed off about being missed up for opportunities before. Like, I feel like, and kind of the song Own Me is a little bit about, like, how I feel about the music industry, and how, like, they're just like, oh, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and you need to be a singer-songwriter, and you need to be 21. And you need to be 21, you need to be a size 8, you need, and it's just like, oh, screw you guys, I can do whatever I want to do, and there's a niche out there for everybody. But yeah, that you've got to kind of face up to the facts of reality. People who are running festivals are running a business, and they will put on what they think will sell tickets, and they will talk about what they will sell tickets for. However, when I go to a festival, personally, because I love music, I will get excited about seeing the bands that I've not heard of.
So, another question on the same lines. So, a lot of the major rock festivals will have, and I'm not complaining about this because I've seen some amazing bands like Metallica, Iron Maiden, and hundreds of others, but Iron Maiden's probably my favourite. But all kinds of brilliant bands. I mean, I saw a gig once. It was worked out the other day. I went to see Paul Simon on Sunday, who was amazing.
Oh, did you? That was meant to be a really good gig.
Absolutely incredible. But it reminded me that the last time I was at that Hyde Park thing, I saw Motorhead, who were quite early on in the bill because he was a bit ill at the time.
Yeah.
And there was Soundgarden, Faith No More, Black Sabbath.
Wow.
Oh, man!
Wow.
Soulfly were on the same day. There's this whole range of that rock band. But they're all established, well-known, and none of them are kind of bands that broke in the last few years. Now, I would argue that actually the UK grime scene, for example, has loads of female artists.
That's fair, yeah.
And I guess, like, you could argue, well, the TV show, and I know Bonesy won't have a clue what we're talking about here, but the TV show that's come out of it is Big Nasty, who's a bloke on Channel 4. Show slot on a Friday night, but actually that's a big, that feels like a more collaborative and more independent and a more true to itself scene than perhaps the independent rock scene seems at the moment.
Yeah, I think, but as well, if you look at, there's been some interesting figures in the press about how rock isn't selling as well as it used to as well. About how, like, obviously you've got kind of you've got hip hop and grime and all of those things, and then in the US country is
debatable.
Like the big thing as well at the moment, and kind of all of that is selling more. So people are putting more energy into supporting those kind of scenes rather than maybe the rock scene. However, rock's been around and it goes in and out of fashion. Yeah.
I was just going to say, for a minute, but you say that, and I get it. But in the album charts, rock music outsells everything and has done for 30 years. So why?
Because that's all the established artists, though, isn't it?
Okay, right. So this is where I'm getting at. So what's your view on that? Well, tell me about that, because I feel like you're going to be passionate about this. Tell me about your and also great things about that.
Just before you continue, this can be the last one because we're running out of time here.
This is going to be
too
much.
So Mike, shut up. Verity, speak.
Okay, thank you, Danny. I think that people like us have got, like, so people are our age, kind of like 30s, obviously grew up around a lot of rock music, like, and also kind of from the 70s onwards, there was a lot of amazing rock music. A lot of those bands are still making music. They're classic. They were famous. They've been famous for a really long time, and people